Everyone, Ēmpress here, and as always, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a Raising Kanan Season 2 Episode 3 review. We're gonna rate, recap, as well as review my favorite and my least favorite moments of the show, whichever comes first. Okay, so the show opens up with Juliana being way too comfortable at work, like most of us do on some days. We're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. She watching TV, got a whole TV right there at the cashier. Now that's just ghetto. Unacceptable! So she watching TV, she don't even realize that Neek done rolled up in the spot and finna hold her at gunpoint. Switch scenes, Howard catches up with Kanan, and he finally has his moment of truth that we've all been waiting for, where he tells Kanan, hey, I'm your dad. You are the father. Defcon is not your dad. Kanan does this really nervous laugh in response to what he told him. It was a very awkward silence. So Howard just opened up and was like, look, I just found out, I didn't know, but I just want to be there for you. In the next scene, Rock is pretty much meeting with Marvin and some other people, and she's discussing yet another move, another change that she's trying to make in the organization, and Marvin's not really too here for it. Again, this scene is showing the divide or the difference of opinion that they kind of have going on right now. We move on to the next scene of Jukebox, and she's not singing, she's singing, and her voice is so beautiful. Okay, she's in the studio and she's singing this beautiful song. Child, I don't even know if the song was beautiful, but her voice is just so beautiful. And much like anything in life, there's always somebody that comes with some negativity anytime something good is happening. So right after she get through singing, her uncle is like praising her, Uncle Lou, and he's like, you sound so good, or whatever, this is so good, that's my niece, that's my niece. And here go Crown criticizing her looks, you know, basically saying that she needs to look more desirable and like someone that people would want to sleep with. Excuse me? So Lou is like, look, excuse me, that's my niece, she's a kid. And Crown is like, look, it's the industry, it's the music industry. I need to be able to close my eyes, hear her sing, and open my eyes, and she needs to look just how she sounds. So Lou tries to break it down in a different way to her because he says he agrees, but of course this hurts her feelings because, as she should, she's comfortable with her look and how she looks, and she's not trying to change that. So after that, Lou pretty much slyway confronts Crown about getting his ex Jessica a job out of state. My personal prediction is that Lou knows exactly what's going on, or what was going on, between him and Jessica. Next we get to the anger management sessions, child therapy sessions with Marvin. One of always my favorite scenes to watch. Not my favorite of this episode. I love going to anger management class with him because don't we all need a little bit of anger management class? I'm trying to get my motherfucking self together. So I like to see black men get the help that they need. So many of them don't think they need it. You know, they're just kind of like Marvin. Uncle Marvin is always distracted. He's eating a sandwich, and they're pretty much opening up about their triggers still and things that trigger them. And so Miss Renee, she's like, Marvin, why don't you share something? Of course he doesn't want to share anything, but she forces it out of him, and he basically lets us know that he's pretty much triggered when someone steps to him disrespectfully or gets into his face. And of course he did not miss an opportunity to shade old buddy who he got into it with at the last episode. He looked over at him and was like, for example, when someone with stank breath comes up in my face, my first reaction is to put my foot in their butt. So that's when the doctor or the therapist, the counselor, whatever, she was like, that's pretty much open aggression. So she diagnosed him as being openly aggressive. She recommended him some breathing techniques that he needs to use next time he's faced with that challenge. This moment also made me think about his unfortunate moment with Juke, where, you know, she did step to him and, you know, in a way, and he reacted, and of course not making it her fault, like only trying to connect the behaviors and patterns that people have. Kanan meets up with Famous, and Famous breaks the news to Kanan. So Kanan didn't even know at the time that Scrap was dead. Kanan's like, you know, what you talking about? And he's like, Scrap committed suicide. And Kanan is just so confused because he knows Scrap to be this powerful person. Like, he's like, that just doesn't sound right to him. So Famous, however, is still homeless. You know, he cared about the whole thing with Scrap to bring it up to see what his reaction was, but he kind of like, okay, back to me. I don't have no house. Like, where I'm gonna live? You know, very kind of selfish in that moment. And Kanan is like still fixated on the fact that Scrap is dead. He's still taking that in, and now he's questioning why Rock never mentioned it to him. This is where stuff start to hit the fan. So Rock pulls up to the store. She's trying to get in the store. She's pulling the door.
See how you can hate from outside of the club. You can't even get in.
And the door is locked. She's like, what's going on? So she calling Juliana, like trying to see why is the store closed? Like, what's going on? So Juliana ain't answering. She getting her voicemail. So Rock, always 10 steps ahead, automatically pulls out the gun, pulls out the keys, and she goes in, you know. Nobody's in there. However, the cash register's open. The cameras are inactive. She runs straight to the back, you know, where all of her money was, and all of the money is gone. So she is pissed. She's calling Lou. Lou ain't answering because he's in the studio. Marvin isn't even answering his phone because he's actually meeting with Renee at the time, and she's just letting him know, like, hey, I'm not gonna let you slide through this course. Like, she's letting him know, I'm gonna keep bothering you, like, pretty much until you participate. So this is when the moment happens that we also all been waiting for. We saw it. We knew that they were gonna have some kind of connection or chemistry. So this is when Marvin first flirts with the lady or whatever, and he's just like, well, if you keep pushing up on somebody that's openly attractive, and she's like openly aggressive, and he's like, well, we'll see what happens. Uncle Marvin is so cute. Tried to hold it together and keep it professional, but girl, we know you gonna fall like a beach chair. I mean, we know it, and we are okay with it. Kanan, he's going over to the building, the trap, the spot. I don't know what to call this place, but he's going over to the building or whatever. I'm assuming that he's looking for Rock, but little do he know that Rock is not there. She's actually over to Juliana's house, like trying to see why she ain't answering the phone and what happened to all the money and all of that. Kanan enters the spot or whatever, and come to find out, he's actually looking for his Uncle Marvin, who's not there. And by the way, Rock, you're gonna have to fire everybody that worked down. First, the elevator man then let Kanan get upstairs and pretty much said F it. And then Kanan then took a whole Ziploc bag full of drugs. Them fools weren't paying no attention. I guess after Marvin left therapy, he went ahead and called Rock back, and she went ahead and told him what happened. They met up at the spot, and they just trying to figure out, like, who is bold enough to come for us. That's when it finally dawns on Rock. It was neat. Then they go to a scene where Kanan and Famous is pretty much throwing away all his tapes or whatever. They throwing them in the dumps. Then we go over to Shannon, which she irritates me so much, talking to some older guy about how she just basically thinks that Howard is hiding something. And what irritates me with her is, girl, you talking to everybody but your partner. And the man tells her right, and he tells her, look, in order for the partnership to work, you're gonna have to trust him. Now granted, she's actually right and on to something, but girl, you gotta leave well enough alone. So then in the next scene, the same cops that were profiling and harassing Kanan and Famous in the last episode, they pull up and they like, I see your little music thing is, you know, has taken off or whatever. And I'm wondering, like, why he's saying that? Come to find out, Kanan and Famous is selling the doggone drugs out of the little cassette holder, child. So all over the streets is cassette holders everywhere, because child, you know, they just opening them up, they doing their drugs, and they throwing them on the ground. Like, these kids just don't have no, like, anyway. Who is working with his new little female artist or whatever, Ziza, however you pronounce it. Rock walks in or whatever, and she's like, Lou, why you ain't been answering the phone? Like, she has to talk with him, she has to meet with him, and she went ahead and told him what was going on. And Crown is there, and he's like being nosy. And we make it back down to the building with all these disgruntled, ungrateful employees, or whatever you call these people, residents, whatever they do, but they are just angry. And we got this man in the wheelchair, and this is my favorite scene. So we've made it to my favorite scene of this episode.
Stand up and clap. Stand your ass up and clap.
And the man is like really rolling up, because I can't say running up. He's rolling up on Uncle Marvin with so much aggression, so many attacks and complaints or whatever. And Marvin, like, he was ready. He was ready to do his normal Marvin thing. But what was so beautiful about this moment is that he remembered to breathe, and he actually breathed. Let's just breathe for Marvin real quick. He breathed through the moment, and he responded not with anger but with grace. Kept coming for him. So I almost wanted Marvin to just snap back and just go ahead and just knock him out the wheelchair. I almost did. I'm sorry. He was proud of himself. Like, he was telling them like what he was doing. But then we go into this doggone sex scene with Howard, honey. And let me just say, back in the Love and Basketball days, maybe we did want to see Q down to the bedroom, but I don't know about now. I mean, you know, he's still a talented man, but you know, we don't want to see him no more. Not in this role. So I'm thinking, you know, like, maybe he's, you know, in there sleeping with a lady who he maybe fooled with, dealt with in the past before his injury. Somebody from down to the precinct. Child, he in there with a whole prostitute. And he ain't been a parent all of 5 minutes, and he giving out parenting advice. So he's just like, you know, basically asking her, what are you going to do if your son hear about what you do for a living? And the lady automatically is defensive, and she's like, look, I take care of my son. That's one thing that he's going to know. That's one thing he's going to remember. And she's basically pointing out to him, like, that's what's important. And I was really trying to look at the money and see was that $40, but I couldn't tell. $40. Moving on to my least favorite scene. Of course, it has Shannon in it, and she's stalking Howard's house. So much and so, you all out there when the prostitute leave, and you following the prostitute, girl. You follow, you putting, you know how when people so nosy and minding the wrong business, you putting 2 and 2 together, but you getting 10. You're not even getting 4. The streets ain't talking. I think the new guy name is Laurel or whatever. He like, look, Rock, I don't know what's going on. I ain't heard, and then I can't find Neat, blase. And Rock pretty much, you know, she's feeling away. Knows for a fact Neat did it. She can't prove it yet, but she know he did it, and they can't find him. So she like, look, find him like your life depends on it. Kanan has opened up to Juke about finding out about his father, and he's wondering, should he bring it up to Rock or not? And then in comes Rock. What y'all talking about? And Kanan opens up to her, and he's like, the cop, he said that, you know, he was my dad. And of course, Rock does that same nervous laugh, except for hers doesn't come off as nervous, but she does that same laugh. Has to play it off with a lot of sarcasm, basically saying that the officer is crazy, he's delusional. So then Kanan moves right on to the next topic at hand. He's like, you know, what about Scrap? Like, I can't believe that. Like, that sounds fishy. And, you know, she's just very accepting about it. She's just like, you know, it's sad, but it's what happened. It was his choice, and we got to move on. And I just know Kanan is just like, Lord, my mama ain't right. And Shannon meets up with her ex or whatever, and she's basically telling, once again, everybody but Howard that she does not trust Howard. And baby, the ex then got triggered all in her feelings, because Shannon talking about Howard having secrets, and she's like, what about you having secrets? I was your secret, you kept me a secret. Boom. Marvin and Lou meet up or whatever. They trying to figure out what's going on, and Marvin pretty much asks, you know, how's Juke doing? Is she okay? Is she good? And he said, does she ask about me? And, you know, Uncle Lou, he didn't want to say no, but, you know, the silence answered the question for him. And, you know, Marvin was getting emotional, almost got a little teary-eyed, and he's just like, really messed up. And Lou responded so horribly by saying, you know, yeah, you did. And granted, he did. They've already got on to him about what he did. So now was a moment for him to open up, for them to like further help him heal. So you could tell that Marvin just immediately put that wall back up. So Rock pretty much has eyes on everybody on Juliana's house. You know, she's still trying to figure out what in the world's going on, who got her money, honey. And Famous made a weird comment about somebody touching him down to the YMCA. Like, I don't know if that's tea. I never attended the YMCA, but that was kind of weird. But anyway, Crown drops by the house looking for Rock, and he pretty much gets in there. He like, look, we both want Lou out of the music industry, so how about I sell you half of the label so we can get him back on the streets? And of course they get interrupted because Lou actually gives Rock a call. So she's like, look, I gotta go. We see Juke following her mom somewhere, and And by the time Rock gets in touch with Lou, they find out that Laurel told them that Nick wants to meet. So they feel like, okay, it's a setup. Like, you know, what's going on? Like, he want to meet up. It's a setup. So they like, look, you going in first. So they go to the location or whatever, and they got the gun pointing at the dude, and they like, you know, going on in. And lo and behold, when they go in, there's Neek, and he has the gun pointed to Juliana's head. Right back to Juke, and Juke is at a church. And I'm like, Juke going to church, child? What's going on? So Juke is walking up in the church. Nothing's wrong going to church, by the way, but you know. I'm like, where this come from? So she walking up in the church, and come to find out, she followed her mama to the church, and her mom is singing in the choir, and her mom is Latoya Luckett. And I thought it was so beautiful, because obviously this is where she gets her beautiful voice from her mother. So she's just sitting there in awe, just gazing at her mom singing so beautifully. When her mom looked at her, they like really locked eyes, and her mom, like, you could feel that she knew that either she knew that was her daughter, or she just knew that she was someone of importance. Like, come on, she knew it was her daughter. On the other hand, was like about to have a panic attack. So she just went ahead and ran out to this next scene, which almost won my favorite, but I went ahead and gave it to Uncle Marvin, because, you know, I want to give everything to Uncle Marvin. You gonna get in trouble. Some of the characters. Neek pretty much says, y'all, look, y'all framed me. I know y'all framed me. Y'all know I ain't do that mess. Y'all ruined my brand, my business. The streets don't mess with me. Ain't nobody's messing with me. I can't get no money. So you know what Neek told him? All I want is peace. I don't rock with me. I don't rock with y'all, but I want my family safe. And I was just like, wow, you know, if he's serious, if he's genuine, if he's authentic. Of course, Uncle Marvin ain't trying to hear that, because he's like, look, this is a weird way to talk. This is a weird way to go about it. He also was like, he pretty much wanted to show them that, hey, I could step to you. Like, I'm the one. I'm him. I'm that dude that can come and test you. Sitting there right in this man's face, debating on if they should kill him. So, somebody was worried about the police finding out. Somebody was worried about everybody knowing that they did it. And Uncle Marvin was just ready. He got to breathe in this moment. He wouldn't breathe. He was ready. So and you know what, it was because of his trick, because he felt like he had stepped to them. So he telling Lou, Uncle Marvin's telling Lou, like, hey, this dude tried to kill you. So Lou was just like, look, it's business, it's not personal. So Lou has always kind of had this level-headed thing going on, I believe, because I think he was the one who met with Neek in the past, wasn't it? So Rock says, look, give me your gun. And Neek, he obliges. He hands over his gun. The episode pretty much wraps the same way it started. Full circle moment where Kanan is getting off the bus somewhere, and Howard rolls up on him again, and Howard is like, look, I bet you talked to your mama. Did she tell you I was delusional? Did she tell you I was crazy? And pretty much he's like, let me prove to you I ain't crazy. I know you shot me, and you was wrong for that. But guess what Howard says? You my son, though. So I'm not going to snitch on you. I'm not going to put you in jail. I'm not going to talk to no cops. He keeps it nice, short, and sweet and simple. Gets in his car, drives off jail. And they start playing that song. They smile in your face, and all the time they want to take your place. So I give this episode a good 9 out of 10, okay? It didn't get a 10 out of 10 because I'm not really on my feet for the next episode. But it did still earn a 9, which is really good. Tell me what y'all thought about this episode. What did y'all rate it? What was y'all favorite and least favorite moments? How are y'all feeling about the season thus far? Thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Tap that notification bell as well, so that you can be notified when I upload more videos. And if you like this review, give me a big thumbs up. And I will see you all in the next one.